Hello, my dear students. I know, you guys don't know what it is about. What is anesthesia resident masterclass? So here I am, and what I've done is I've given you the snippets of what I have already done in few of the demo videos, and you will find these demo videos on DAMS Delhi YouTube channel. You can always go and watch them, and if you like what I'm doing, and if you want to be a part of this course, then you can always contact me. The description is given at the end of the video. Along with that, you have all the details that you need to contact me in the description of the video. So enjoy. And these are just snippets of what we do. We have discussed about 100 plus topics this way in a very structured manner, along with writing the notes and covering everything that is required to clear your anesthesia postgraduate exam, both theory as well as practicals. So do let me know if you like them, and you're always welcome to join the course. Thank you.
Technique of use. Technique. So most commonly we use one hand technique. One hand technique. Now in one hand technique, your index finger and the thumb, they are on top of the mask. And they apply a posterior pressure that will hold the mask down, and then rest three fingers are on the body of mandible. Not in the submandibular space. Remember, you always have to hold it on the body of the mandible. So when you hold it like this, the two fingers are on the top of the mask, which are pushing it down. The three fingers on the body of the mandible are giving jaw thrust. They are giving jaw thrust. This is one hand technique. This is very easy to do in thin individuals. In thin patients. Very easy to do in thin patients. But usually we get difficult bag mask ventilation in obese individuals. And here we have to use a two hand technique. So you can see here both the hands are used, and you use thumb to push the mask down, and you use both the hands to give a jaw thrust. Sometimes to make an appropriate seal, the anesthetist can bend down and push the mask from up using his own chin. The anesthetist can go down and push the mask down to make a proper seal. To make a proper seal. Another is a two-handed jaw thrust technique, in which you will push the mask down with two hands. So the upper thumb will push the mask down, while your two little fingers will be under the angle of the mandible, and they will push the jaw out, jaw thrust. So this is something that you do very commonly when you are not able to ventilate. Then you push the mask down and you put the jaw thrust up. Very commonly in pediatric patients we use this claw hand technique. Claw hand technique. See, here what has happened is the hands are around the face like a claw. And here the whole idea is to avoid pressure over the submental area here, because the submental area, if it is pushed, then it will impinge inside and it will decrease the body cavity, decrease the area of the body cavity. Okay? This is called as claw hand technique. This is usually done in pediatric patients. usually done in pediatric patients. And for bearded patients, what we do is we apply a lubricant jelly at the beard to create a proper seal. So because it is difficult to hold the mask with a beard, so what you do is you apply jelly over this beard. So that will cause clumping, or they will make the hair come in one single length or form. And with this jelly, when you apply the mask, it will conform to the shape of the face. It will conform to the shape of the face. Okay. Let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of using face mask. See, the biggest advantage is lower incidence of sore throat. Because you are not putting anything in the oral cavity, therefore the incidence of sore throat is very less. It requires less anesthetic depth than using a supraglottic airway device or tracheal tube. So much so that just using face mask doesn't even require any anesthesia. If your patient is spontaneously breathing, you can simply hold the mask and the patient will let you. So the depth of anesthesia even for using a face mask required is very less. Muscle relaxants don't need to be given for the patient to be able to tolerate the mask. Muscle relaxants do not need to be used for the patient to tolerate the mask, and most cost efficient method to manage short cases, and that used to be done by our seniors. Whenever they are doing a short case, they'll say just hold the mask, give nitrous Sevo or nitrous iso, and just hold the mask. The patient will breathe spontaneously. They will go under. A short surgery can be done that way. And because our seniors who are right now associate professors and professors in our college, they have actually gotten their training in the pre-supraglottic airway device era. So they are very used to mask holding. We guys are not, because for even a short procedure, we simply give propofol and we put an eye gel. It is so easy that we don't actually need to use our hands for face mask ventilation, but it was indeed the most cost efficient method. Disadvantages: anesthesia providers' hands are in continuous use. Higher fresh gas flows are often needed because of large leak. During remote anesthesia like MRI or CT, airway access will become difficult because your patient goes too deep in the machine. More episodes of oxygen desaturation as compared to any other device. It requires more intraoperative airway manipulations and present more difficulties in maintaining the airway. It needs to be constantly adjusted, because even if you have made a seal once, it doesn't guarantee that it will keep on ventilating. So you have to do a lot of adjustments, and it is therefore difficult to maintain the airway. And obviously the work of breathing is higher with face mask because of highest dead space. It has got a large dead space, right? I just want you to note this table. I'm just coming in a minute. Right. Okay. So these are advantages and disadvantages of face mask as a airway device as well as face mask ventilation. Let's look at the complications. Most commonly, skin problems like dermatitis, pressure necrosis. Pressure necrosis is seen with hypotension during surgery. You are holding the mask very tightly. That will decrease the blood supply. At the same time, if the patient is suffering, the patient is having hypotension, then sometimes the blood supply to the skin becomes so low that when you remove the mask, you realize that it has all blackened and then it has led to pressure necrosis. Nerve injuries. When there is a forward displacement of the jaw, then it can cause stretching of the nerve. So when you displace the jaw forward, then you can cause stretching of the nerve. Also, when you press the mask, there is injury to lingual nerve. When you press the mask, there is injury to lingual nerve. Then there can be some part of the mask that can get dislodged, which can then go inside. Part of the mask can get dislodged, which can go inside, which can then cause foreign body aspiration. Obviously, there is gastric inflation, which is highest amongst all airway device. Highest amongst all airway device, gastric inflation. And especially when the ventilating pressures, or rather the airway pressures while ventilating, airway pressure while ventilating goes more than 20 centimeters of water. You know what is this 20 centimeters of water? This is the opening pressure of esophagus. Opening pressure of esophagus. So if you are ventilating above this, then along with the gases going into trachea, they will also open up the esophagus and you will have gastric insufflation of air, which will lead to high risk of aspiration, which is one of the major complications associated with use of face mask ventilation. Gastric insufflation, which leads to high risk of aspiration. High risk of aspiration. Then you have eye injury, which can lead to corneal abrasion, which is most common complication, ophthalmic complication of anesthesia. Most common ophthalmic complication of anesthesia. There can be eyelid edema, there can be chemosis of the conjunctiva, pressure on the supraorbital or supratrochlear nerve, supraorbital and supratrochlear nerve, corneal injury, temporary blindness from central retinal artery occlusion. This can happen by, again, the same thing, when you have periods of hypotension and by some reason there is pressure on the eyeball. Your mask can get dislodged upward and there can be pressure on the eyeball, which can lead to central retinal artery occlusion, which can lead to temporary blindness. Okay. Jaw pain. That happens because of the pressure of the mask on the jaw for a long time. Cervical spine movement. For effective ventilation using face mask, you always need to give the sniffing position. And in cervical spine injury patient, if you change the position like this, it can lead to instability of cervical spine. Latex allergy. If the mask material is made up of latex, then it can cause severe allergic reaction. Then it can cause severe allergic reaction. Right? Environmental pollution. All the exhaled gases from the patient are going out in the OT atmosphere, which are then released out in the atmosphere, as well as all the gases going into the patient are leaking a lot. There is a large leak. So there is a lot of environmental pollution risk which is associated with use of face mask ventilation and user fatigue. That is why you cannot ventilate face mask using a long time. Can't be used for long time. Can't be used for a long time. All right. So these are the complications which are associated with face mask. Theoretical, pure theoretical. All right. Let's come to airways. Are you guys? They will always give you an LMA. And whenever they give you an LMA, they would expect you to know certain things about this LMA on the top of your head. And then from there on, the Viva can go on to any different type of LMA, its classification, and how we are going to discuss. So let's first start with the classification. Now the funny thing is that originally the classification was given by Miller's. Miller gave a classification. This was the first ever classification of laryngeal mask airway. After a lot of laryngeal mask airways were in the market, he first decided let's classify them based on certain characteristics. So he classified them into cuffed perilaryngeal sealers, that is cuff devices which sit around the larynx and seal it. Cuffed pharyngeal sealers, that is cuff devices which are sitting in the pharynx and it is sealing it. And cuffless pre-shaped sealers. So it is a cuffless device, it has a predefined shape and they seal. What they seal? Not very clear. Okay. Now in cuffed perilaryngeal sealers, you have devices without directional seal, which is practically all the devices, which is your laryngeal mask airway, which is the classic LMA, your intubating LMA, soft seal, AMBU, which are two different variants of classic LMA only. It's different company, little bit variation here and there, and we'll see about them. There is only one example of a cuffed perilaryngeal sealer with a directional seal, a seal that has a direction, and we'll discuss that it has a dorsal cuff which improves the airway pressure during the use. So that is ProSeal LMA. There is only one example, ProSeal LMA. Then you have cuffed pharyngeal sealers without esophageal sealing cuff. That means a cuffed pharyngeal sealer that doesn't have a cuff in the esophagus part of it, that is Cobra PLA, perilaryngeal airway. And then you have with esophageal sealing, in which you have laryngeal tube suction, which is essentially the same thing except one port for suction, and combi tube, which is esophageal tracheal combi tube. And then you have cuffless pre-shaped sealers where you have devices like Slippa, iGel and Busca. Out of that, iGel is something that we use very commonly. Busca is the newest supraglottic airway device in the market. And Slippa, very interesting. It will always be kept in your Viva. You will always be asked to identify it. Usually they never ask a question beyond it. There are two questions, identify and full form. And if you are preparing for any of the quizzes for anesthesia, then this is the part, this is the classification and these are the LMAs that you should definitely know and you should be able to identify, because they form a very, very important part of image based questions for your quizzes, right? So this was the original classification by Miller. Then there was a guy called Cook, and he thought I will also classify, but he classified based on, there was a confusion for a very long time. It was based on chronology and certain set of things that changes in an LMA that improves its function. So he first gave a classification where he said first generation and second generation LMAs. What did he say about first generation LMA? Is that which is a simple ventilating tube. Which has a simple ventilating tube. What are the examples here? Just one ventilating tube. We know the examples are LMA, classic, unique. Simple ventilating tube, nothing else. Second generation will be something which has a simple ventilating tube but a gastric drain tube. Now this improves the safety, because with a gastric drain tube you can put a nasogastric tube through it, which can cause stomach to keep on deflating, as well as the secretions will start coming out. So it improves the safety associated with the use of LMA. So that is a second generation, and examples will be all with a gastric drain port like ProSeal LMA, Supreme, iGel, all these that have a separate gastric drain port. This was okay till there was a device which they thought that would be even better than a second generation. Even better than a second generation. So they said a third generation, and I am going to put a question mark here because this has not been completely clear whether you can call it better. So you can call it third generation. But yes, if somebody asks you, do you know a third generation LMA, then you can always say someone with a simple ventilating tube, a gastric drain tube, and a dynamic sealing mechanism. A dynamic sealing mechanism. That means the seal keeps on changing depending on the use of the LMA. Dynamic sealing mechanism. And you have examples here like Elisha and the latest one, that is Busca. And this Busca mask had created the controversy. If you want, you can write classification of LMA controversy and it will take you to a BJ article, British Journal of Anesthesia, where both the inventors of these classifications, Millers as well as Cook, they have given their own justification as to why they have called it, but it has not been universally accepted that there is something called as a third generation LMA. But yes, if somebody asks you, then these are the latest ones which are considered to be third generation, mostly for commercial purposes. When they are selling, then they say, okay, this is a better device, and so we call it third generation, stuff like that. So this is Cook's classification. So there are two types of classification. One is Miller's classification, another is Cook's classification, right? Let's dive into individual LMAs, and we'll start with the Miller classification because it covers all of them and it covers them categorically based on the use. So cuffed perilaryngeal sealers, the name is only telling you it has a cuff which sits around the larynx. Once the cuff is inflated, it will ventilate the patient as well as not move because the cuff is surrounding the larynx. The first and a very detailed example is LMA Classic. LMA Classic. Okay. This is how an LMA Classic looks like. All of you must have held a LMA Classic. It is nothing. It has a bowl. It has a bowl on which you have attached an airway tube at an angle of 30 degree. This bowl has an oval shaped cuff which can be inflated using this pilot balloon assembly with an inflation line with a unidirectional valve. So this is pilot balloon, inflation line, unidirectional valve. There is a proximal 15 mm connector universal and there is a proximal aperture. You have the epiglottis elevating bars here, 2 bars, that will prevent the downfolding of epiglottis on the airway tube, right? And then you have a distal aperture from which the gases come and they will cause the ventilation, right? This is the basic structure of a classic LMA. Let's write down the description, something that can be asked in your exam. So I'm making it very, very pertinent for you. It contains a curved tube called as shaft, on which there is a elliptical spoon shaped mask, which is the spoon shaped mask, which is at an angle of 30 degree, which is at an angle of 30 degrees, which is at an angle of 30 degrees. There are 2 vertical bars, that is to prevent the epiglottic folding. That is to prevent the epiglottis folding. All right. It has got a inflatable cuff. It has got a inflatable cuff with a inflation line and a self-sealing pilot balloon assembly. Self-sealing pilot balloon assembly. It also contains a black line that runs posteriorly. It contains a black line that runs posteriorly. The machine end again has a 15 mm universal connector. Machine end has a universal 15 mm connector. It has a universal 15 mm connector, right? So this is the basic understanding. It has a curved tube, elliptical spoon shaped mask, 2 vertical bar to prevent epiglottis downfolding or unfolding or folding, inflatable cuff, black line. Now you have to understand all LMAs have these structures, just there will be some difference here and there. Even if you don't remember a specific difference, if you write these things, still your answer will be 80% correct. So remember, if you remember LMA classic, all you have to do is just remember 1 or 2 specific points about some other LMA and you just keep on adding that and you remember it that way. Otherwise, just before the exam, so many LMAs, one tends to get confused, okay, which LMA has what. So just remember classic in detail and just keep on adding, deleting the points in specific LMAs. The material from which it is made up of is usually silicone. Sterilization is by autoclave after washing and cleaning with 8 to 10% soda bicarb. So you first wash it, then clean it with 8 to 10% soda bicarb and then autoclave. After autoclave, you can use it up to 40 times. And you usually keep a small slip every time you send for autoclave in which you write the number of times it has been used. Airway pressure that you can use while you are using an LMA Classic is around 20 to 25 centimeters of water. 20 to 25 centimeters of water. Once you inflate the cuff, the maximum intra-cuff pressure should be 60 centimeters of water, which is the maximum pharyngeal mucosal pressure. So if your airway, the cuff pressure goes beyond 60 centimeters of water, it can cause pharyngeal mucosal ischemia, which can later on to lot of sore throat as well as pain as well as edema in the pharyngeal cavity. Right? So this is a basic description of laryngeal mask airway classic, LMA classic. All right. Next, look at the sizes. So there are total 8 sizes available, which are 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There are 8 sizes available. And the sizing of classic and pro seal is same based on weight, less than 5 kg 1, 5 to 10 1.5, 10 to 22 and 20 to 30 2.5, then 30 to 53, 50 to 74, 70 to 100 5. If you want to remember the maximum volume of air that you have to inflate in the cuff, just remember 4, 7, 10, 14, and then you have size 3 that requires 20 ml, 4 30 ml, 5 40 ml, 6 50 ml, right? If somebody asks you in general which is the most common size for a female adult, it is 4, and male adult is 5. Male adult is 5. So adult is very easy. For a child, the size is best calculated by checking the widest part of the LMA, which should be equal to the width of second to fourth finger. So if you see this second to fourth finger width, this width should be equal to the maximum width of the LMA. That is an appropriate size for the child. That is an appropriate size for the child. What will happen if you use an inappropriate size? So there can be two possibilities. Either you are using a smaller than required size or a larger than required size. Smaller than required size will cause leak of gas around LMA, so ventilation will not be proper. If you choose a larger size of LMA, then what all problem can happen? Too large a size can cause the LMA to come out of oral cavity. It can lead to increased risk of sore throat, and it has a more propensity to cause lingual nerve palsy because of the increased pressure. Now what I am going to do is I am going to take you through all the tubes. I am going to tell you their basic difference, and then I'm going to show you the images, and this is going to be with you. Okay. I don't think we'll be able to do double lumen tubes today. There's no point. It's already 11 o'clock. Double lumen tubes, they require little more understanding of the anatomy and the physiology. So what we'll do is we'll take one lung ventilation as a topic next time. And then we'll go on and discuss the last topic, that is difficulty of his. I don't mind teaching you guys little extra, so that is fine. I originally planned these sessions to be of 1.5 hours, but I'm realizing that there is so much of joy in teaching you all, and you guys are enjoying it so much, but I don't mind to give you more. So that is why I'm making more extensive lectures. Also, we had a poll on the group, and there are few students who told me that I could include more things. Although I feel that the more I give you, you might not be able to retain. The idea is not to have more, the idea is to understand and remember things that you can reproduce in the exam. Otherwise, knowledge is vast. Knowledge is something which cannot be contained. I can read 10 books for a particular topic and include like 50 more points, but that is not the point, because we don't actually remember them. So idea is to read the things that you can revise, and then you can go and reproduce in the exam, and something that is commonly asked in exams as well. Okay. So I am going to take you through special tubes. So what I have done is I have gone through the extensive list of tubes, and then I have divided them in adult tubes and pediatric tubes. So we have only 3 tubes that we use in pediatric, that is Oxford, Hole and microcuff tube, while all the other tubes are adult tubes, and I have then divided them based on the special type of surgery. So you have head and neck surgeries where we prefer RAE tube and flexometallic tubes. Microlaryngeal surgeries we use MLT tubes, Cardan tubes. Blind nasal intubation, Tehran and Endotrol tube is preferred. Laryngeal surgery may you have the laryngectomy tube. If you have an anterior larynx, then Endoflex tube. If you want to do fiber optic bronchoscopy, then Parker flex tip tube. Thyroid surgeries में electromyogram reinforced tube. Intubating LMA के साथ ILMA tube. When you have to do prolonged ventilation in ICU, then high-low evac tube, high-low jet tube. And these are the list of laser resistant tubes. Mostly you have to remember their names: Hunsaker Monjet ventilation tube, Laser Shield 2, Laser Flex, Sheridan, Norton, Bivona foam and Laser Tubus. And we have 3 pediatric tubes, this is Oxford, Cole and microcuff ET tube. Okay? So let's start with RAE tubes. We are discussing special types of tubes. Ring, Eldair, Elvin, the name of the 3 scientists who discovered these tubes. These are preformed tubes. So they have a preformed shape, and the shape is on the basis of where the machine end is facing after the tube is inserted. If it faces towards the legs of the patient, south polar tube. If it faces towards the head of the patient, then it is a north polar tube. Okay? So when you have any surgery which involves maxilla and above, you put a south pole tube, like cleft palate, cleft lip surgeries. If you have anything that includes that is there in the oral cavity and the maxillofacial, the mandibular area, the lower, the neck, the mandible, cheeks, then you put a north polar tube. Okay. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Advantage is easy to secure and reduce the risk of accidental extubation in case there is a change in the position of the tube every time the surgeon wants to approach the area of surgical field. Curve helps to place the circuit away from the surgical field, just like how we are using differently shaped tubes. It will also put the circuit away from the surgical area. Long length makes it useful for insertion through a supraglottic airway device. It would be difficult. You will have to first put it in hot water and make it soft, but you can use it using SAD. Nasal tube may be useful for oral intubation of patients who are to be in prone position. So now you have a longer length of the tube which you can easily manipulate and bring it out. Disadvantages: difficult to pass a suction catheter because they have a bend, offers more resistance than conventional tubes since they are designed to fit average patient. So if the patient is either large or small, so too long or too small, and a chosen RAE tube may become short to reach below the glottis, increasing the risk of inadvertent extubation. So if you have a longer than normal tube, then there will be endobronchial. If you have a shorter than normal tube, then your tube might not be very deep in the trachea, rather just at the level of vocal cords. So there is a possibility that the patient might get extubated. Flexometallic, also called as spiral embedded, armored, reinforced or wire reinforced tube made up of rubber, PVC, silicone, has a metal or a nylon spiral wound wound reinforcing wire within the wall of the tube which makes it flexible and non-kinkable. So देखो उसको ऐसा मोड़ सकते हो आप. You all must have used this thing, used this tube in the head and neck cases. So it is a non-kinkable tube, wire reinforced. You have taken a wire, very small thin mesh type of wire, and you have reinforced it in the wall of the tube. The reinforcing spiral will not stretch to accommodate a connector, so the tubes cannot be cut short then supplied. This is the big problem कि अगर आपने ट्यूब को काट दिया तो अब जो वो वायर स्पाइरल एम्बेड है उसमें आपका कनेक्टर नहीं घुसेगा. सो यू कैन नॉट डिक्रीज द लेंथ ऑफ द ट्यूब. दीज ट्यूब्स आर सप्लाइड एट अ लेंथ ऑफ 30 सेंटीमीटर्स और ग्रेटर फॉर एन इंटरनल डायमीटर ऑफ 5 mm ऑफ अबव. सो 5 के ऊपर की ट्यूब जो होती है सबका लेंथ 30 सेंटीमीटर्स होता है. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: resistance to kinking and compression, hence useful in head and neck surgery or where there's a rotation of head and neck. The portion of the tube outside the patient can be angled away from surgical field without kinking. कहीं भी घुमा लो फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Making it useful for surgeries in patients with tracheostomy, submental intubation, retromolar positioning. Retromolar positioning. It may pass more easily over a fiber scope than a conventional tube. A forceps or a stillet is often required for intubation because there is no shape. It will keep on dangling. Difficult to pass the tube through the nose. Reinforced tubes have greater wall thickness. Therefore, we get a smaller internal diameter for a given outer diameter. Because the spiral, these tubes cannot be shortened and elastic recoil force may increase the tendency of unintentional extubation. Repeated sterilization makes the tube sticky, soft, mainly at the junction of the start of the spiral and connector, and at that point the tube can become kinked. The tube does not have Murphy's eye, so in case of an obstruction, and the metal viral spire may obscure the radiological imaging in cervical spine injury patients. You cannot do an MRI with a flexometallic tube because it will distort the whole image. ठीक है. Then you have a microlaryngeal tracheal surgery tube, MLT tube. Microlaryngeal tracheal surgery tube, MLTS tube or LTS tube. Laryngeal tracheal surgery tube is available with internal diameter of 4, 5 and 6 mm but an adult size length and high volume low pressure cuff. So basically it is a smaller tube, thinner tube with an adult characteristic. क्यों? क्योंकि जब आप माइक्रो लैरिंजियल सर्जरी कर रहे हो, बेसिकली माइक्रो लैरिंजियल में माइक्रो इज माइक्रोस्कोप, आपने भी करवाया होगा, एमएल स्कोपी, माइक्रो लैरिंजोस्कोपी. इसमें आप ट्यूब डालते हो, वो आते हैं, फिर वो ऐसा मुंह खोल देते हैं, फिर वो लैरिंग्स को देखने के लिए दे पुट अ माइक्रोस्कोप, है ना. डायग्नोस्टिक प्रोसीजर्स होती हैं, छोटी होती हैं, कभी कभी ये भी होती है, वोकल कॉर्ड पॉलिप वगैरह होता है तो वो भी करते हैं. ठीक है. सो नाउ यू नीड स्पेस ना, अदरवाइज हाउ विल ही दे सी द लैरिंग्स अगर पूरा का पूरा आपका ट्यूब ले लेगा. तो वी हैव मेड अ ट्यूब विच इज स्मॉलर with an adult characteristic. Advantages for microlaryngeal surgery and patients with narrow airway where there is normal size trachea, tube cannot be inserted. The small tube diameter provides better visibility and access to surgical field. Disadvantage: narrow diameter leads to resistance to exhalation. Hence, you have to do controlled ventilation with long expiratory pause. This type of tube is not safe with lasers and due to flexibility difficult to insert unless and until you have Megill's forceps. Cardan's tube, again it is to facilitate microsurgery. अब देखो इसमें तो कुछ है ही नहीं, कफ ही है बस जिसको आप प्लेस कर लेते हो इन द सब ग्लॉटिक एरिया एंड देन वेंटिलेट करने के लिए पतला सा ट्यूब दिया हुआ है. इट इज शॉर्ट एंड कफ ट्रकेल ट्यूब दैट सिट्स होल बेली, it sits wholly below the glottis and is attached to long catheter for insufflation of gas and long pilot balloon. तो पतला सा कैथेटर होता है इंसफलेशन के लिए, बाकी इट इज जस्ट कफ दैट इज प्लेस्ड पोस्टीरियर टू द Now you have two tubes, that is Tehran and endotrawl tubes, which are for blind intubations. So this Tehran tube has a double curved S-shaped for nasal intubation, blind nasal, double curved S-shaped. It is reusable, made up of silicone, and it is very useful for blind intubation. Endotrawl tube has a pull ring loop trigger that is connected to the tip with the cable embedded in the tube. तो देखो ये कैसा होता है, ये देख रहे हो, ये एक पुल रिंग होता है जो कि इससे कनेक्टेड है. जब आप इसको खींचते हो ना तो ये एंटीरियरली चला जाता है. तो इफ यू हैव एन एंटीरियर लैरिंग्स और आप एंडोट्रॉल ट्यूब की इस चीज को खींचोगे तो इट विल change the diameter, the radius of curvature, and it will become more anterior. Pulling the trigger decreases the tube's inside radius and moves the tip anteriorly. That is endotrawl tube. Endotrawl tube. Then you have endoflex and Parker flex tube. So endoflex is designed to aid intubation when the patient has anterior larynx. Pulling the white bar towards the connector causes the tube to flex. Similar to the endotrawl, you have endoflex. Again the same thing, you stretch it, you pull it, and it will go anteriorly. The Parker flex tube has a hooded curve. It has a hooded curve. Can you see? Hood जैसा उसका curved flexible tapered tip होता है that points towards the center of the distal lumen on the concave surface of the tube so that the bevel faces posteriorly during insertion. देखो bevel जो है वो posteriorly face कर रहा है. It has Murphy's eye on the right and left side of the tube and a very thin cuff. This is to pass the flexible endoscope easily. अगर आपने दोनों साइड में Murphy's eye रख ली तो endoscope बहुत easily पास हो जाएगा आपकी ट्यूब के हिसाब से. ओके. इलेक्ट्रोमायोग्राम reinforced ट्यूब, बहुत सारे वायर निकले होंगे ट्यूब से. ट्यूब्स designated to monitor recurrent laryngeal nerve during the surgery. The tube is wire reinforced and has 4 stainless steel electrode above the cuff. The electrodes are then connected to a monitor. This is intubating laryngeal mask airway. It is very similar to a flexometallic tube. It is a straight tube. Flexometallic is also straight tube. Wire reinforced silicon tube with blunt tip. उसका tip लेकिन blunt है. Short bevel and Murphy's eye. So it is little different in terms of blunt tip, short bevel, and Murphy's eye. It has a high pressure, low volume cuff. It is reusable and can be autoclaved and is available in sizes 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and 8. And it is specifically used with intubating LMA, but it is not such a good idea to use it for long-term ventilation. So if you have a patient where you have used intubating LMA to insert this tube, but the patient has to be then put on long-term ventilation, then you use an airway exchange catheter and you change this tube. Okay. Then you have high-low evac tube and high-low jet tube. This is for prolonged ventilation. So high-low evac, the name is only telling you evac, helps in evacuation, has a dedicated channel that can be used to clear secretions below the vocal cords but above the cuff. Below the vocal cords but above the cuff. Results were mixed when this tube was to prevent pneumonia and the lumen may get blocked by secretions. High-low jet tube is again uncuffed tube with an additional lumen that can be used for jet ventilation. तो पता नहीं क्यों बनाया है, but एक uncuffed tube है जिसमें एक lumen है for jet ventilation. So you can use jet ventilator through it, monitoring airway pressure, sampling respiratory gases, administering local anesthetics, and irrigating the airway. One problem with this tube is that the suction catheter may bind in the small tracheal tube lumen. जो suction catheter होता है वो अटक जाएगा क्योंकि lumen बहुत छोटा होता है. ठीक है. Laryngectomy tube. So it is a laryngectomy tube that is to be inserted through tracheostomy. देखो laryngectomy, larynx से निकाल रहे हैं तो उसमें तो track रहेगा ही. ठीक है. तो it is inserted via the tracheostomy. It is a J-shaped tube, needs to be straightened while insertion. The tip may be short without bevel to avoid advancement into the bronchus. This allows the part of the tube external to the patient to be directed away from the surgical field, and the short distance between the cuff and the distal tube may cause the bevel to butt on the tracheal wall. क्योंकि बहुत ही छोटा distance होता है between the tip and the cuff. Murphy's eye वगैरह कुछ नहीं होती है. इसको सीधा करते हैं, एंडो ट्रकियोस्टोमी ट्यूब के थ्रू डालते हैं, छोड़ते हैं, वो जे होता है तो it comes out and it goes away so that the surgeon can operate on the larynx. Laser resistant tube. So the first is Hunsaker Mon jet ventilation tube. लेजर में Hunsaker jet ventilator tube use करते हैं, which is has an external diameter of 3 millimeters. It is used for subglottic jet ventilation. So you put that and then you give jet ventilation through this tube. It has a separate lumen for monitoring airway pressure and respiratory gases. The patient end has a basket shaped distal extension designed to center the tube. It is used for administering one lung ventilation and it is compatible with CO2, Nd:YAG and argon lasers. CO2, Nd:YAG and argon lasers. That is very easily identified. एंड में एक डायमंड शेप्ड चीज होती है जिसको हम बोलते हैं हंसेकर मॉन जेट वेंटिलेशन ट्यूब. देन यू हैव लेजर शील्ड 2 एंड लेजर फ्लेक्स. तो क्या होगा, सिलिकॉन विथ इनर एल्यूमिनियम रैप एंड आउटर टेफ्लॉन कोट. तो आपको दिख जाएगा एल्यूमिनियम और टेफ्लॉन. कफ इसका लेजर रेजिस्टेंट नहीं होता है, कंटेन्स मिथिलीन ब्लू क्रिस्टल, तो फट जाएगा तो ब्लू ब्लू बाहर आएगा. एंड इट इज फॉर CO2 एंड KTP लेजर. जबकि लेजर फ्लेक्स ट्यूब has a stainless steel tube with smooth plastic surface and a matte finish to reflect the laser beam. The standout feature of a laser flex tube is two cuff with two separate inflation balloons, so that in case there is a break of the cuff because of the laser, then you can use another cuff. Sheridan and Norton tube. Sheridan laser tube is a red rubber tube wrapped with copper foil tape and then wrapped with water absorbent fabric. So एक रेड रबर ट्यूब लेते हैं, उसमें कॉपर फॉइल लगा के उसमें वाटर एब्जॉर्बेंट फैब्रिक से उसको कवर कर देते हैं. CO2 and KTP laser, obviously it has a red rubber tube, so it has a high pressure cuff. Norton tube is reusable, flexible, spiral wound metal tube with stainless steel connector and thick walls. The exterior is matte so that it decrease the reflection of the laser beam, has no cuff, and it is acceptable with KTP, Nd:YAG and CO2 laser. Now Bivona foam cuff tube and laser tubus. Bivona foam cuff has a aluminium and silicon spiral with a silicon covering. ठीक है. It has a self-inflating cuff made up of polyurethane foam sponge. I told you the foam cuff. ठीक है. Cuff should be filled with saline and it is marketed for CO2 laser. While laser tubus is a tube made up of white rubber and has a cuff within a cuff system. So it is also dual cuff but cuff within a cuff. So in case the outer cuff gets damaged, inner cuff will take over and it is for argon, Nd:YAG and CO2 laser. Let's talk about pediatric tubes. So normally we use uncuffed tubes, then we use micro cuffed tubes, and then we had an old tube for neonatal resuscitation called as cold tube. And this is something that will be kept in your exam because ये हर डिपार्टमेंट के एक ओल्ड डब्बे में पाया जाता है. कैसे पता चलेगा? टिप जो होता है थोड़ा सा स्मॉलर इन डायमीटर होता है एज कंपेयर टू अदर पार्ट ऑफ द ट्यूब. तो केवल उतना ही पोर्शन जाके अटकेगा which is used for neonatal resuscitation. It is an uncuffed oral tube with patient end with a smaller diameter. It has a shoulder at the junction of the narrow patient end and a broad proximal end. This prevents inadvertent bronchial intubation and provides airtight seal. ठीक है. This is micro cuff endotracheal tube. Micro cuff में क्या होता है? Cuff जो होता है बहुत thin material का होता है. The cuff of this tube is short, ultra thin polyurethane cuff located away from the subglottic area. Even when you inflate it with as small as 0.1 ml of air, it keeps the pressure at around 10 centimeters of water and still seals the trachea. The ultra thin allows sealing at low pressures and provide uniform and complete surface contact with minimal formation of cuff. Uninflated, the cuff adds only minimal amount to external diameter, and shortened cuff and elimination of Murphy's allow more distal position of upper cuff border, thereby reducing the risk of pressure applied on cricoid ring and adjacent mucosa. तो मैंने आपको बताया था ना, जो McGill type of tubes होती हैं उसमें Murphy's I को इसलिए हटा देते हैं so that you can put the cuff to distal, and when the cuff reaches distal, then the chances of your tube going endobronchial as well as the cuff affecting the cricoid ring and the vocal cord becomes very less. Oxford or Aslop's tube It is just a preformed shaped tube which is L shaped. It is made up of red rubber. It can be curved or uncurved. Remember, this is for cleft lip and palate. Cleft lip and palate. Advantages: the thicker wall at the lip prevents compression by mouth, gag in cleft lip or palate surgery. It can be used in prone position surgeries like posterior fossa and cervical spine. Disadvantages: all size not available. Bevel situated posteriorly which can abut against the tracheal wall. Tube, because of its acute curve, offers greater resistance, and distance of the bevel to curve is fixed, hence avoid endobronchial intubation. A proper size tube is must. ठीक है, क्योंकि जो बेवल से कर्व का जो डिस्टेंस होता है, ये बेवल से कर्व का डिस्टेंस फिक्स है, तो अगर आपका प्रॉपर साइज नहीं हुआ तो वही चीज जो वहां पे आपको प्रॉब्लम हुई थी इन अ साउथ फेसिंग ट्यूब, South polar tube, the same problem you will have in Oxford tube. In fact, they both look very similar also, right? So this is about the endotracheal tubes. Very extensive. We have tried to cover every aspect of endotracheal tube, right from the design point of view, so the technique of insertion, to the complications, to very special type of tubes. And this brings us to the end of this topic. We intended to do double lumen tubes, but somewhere I knew that we won't be able to, but I still put it if we would have gone little faster, but I wanted to give you a detailed description of endotracheal tubes, and so we skipped the double lumen tubes. Now next time what we are going to do is we are going to do double lumen tubes. Along with that we'll discuss bronchial blockers, and then we'll take a session on difficult airway algorithm, right? So do you have any doubts? Is anybody still with me, or they have slept Saturday night, one night where you don't know you have to go to, you know that you don't have to get up early tomorrow to go to the theater? I will take your leave, and if there are any doubts, then again I am there available on the group as well as a personal chat. Again, people who are not a part of the group are requested to send their details on this number via WhatsApp, and I will add you on the WhatsApp group, which will be beneficial for you only. Okay, so we have a dedicated group of now 200 residents all across the India from all medical colleges, and that will help, we will help each other, and we will try and get to the place where we want to discuss everything and we want to have a very good discussion, right? So it was wonderful being with you all, and good night. God bless you.
Hi, I hope you watched the entire session and I hope you liked it. This was just a demo video for you to understand what we are doing. So I've compiled a lot of sections together, relevant sections, to get you an idea of how we have approached things. These are the ways you can reach me. The best is directly you can contact me on WhatsApp on this number. You can download the DAMS eMedicos app and directly go and opt for the course. And you can contact any of the DAMS helpline number or any person from DAMS that you know who's going to help you. Ultimately, you can always ask me, approach me on Instagram or on Telegram. My profile is Anesthesia Shots by Anshul Divakar, and I'll be happy to help you. Bye.